Okay, welcome everyone. We'll start our third lesson on corporate social responsibility, unit 4.6, ATHE level 5. So today we'll do our third lesson, which will cover our LO3, learning outcome 3, assessment criteria 3. So please, if you have any question, if you're hearing these lessons, I wait for you, but you're not join me, so I'm just starting this lesson, but make sure I will try to attend your lesson. You will be start 1:30 till 2:30 UK time on every Saturday. So please carry on, attend your next lesson, which will be just a recap. So we'll start. So before starting our lesson 3, let's first recap, what we covered up to now in lesson 1 and lesson 2. So I'll go back to the learning outcome, what we covered up to now. So anybody, any question? So LO1, learning outcome 1, we learn about understand the current corporate responsibility issue facing by organization. We discuss about during our first lesson what is meant by corporate social responsibility, where we discuss about organization these are the corporate citizen. When you the inductive content which we're supposed to learn, behaving responsibly, which we discuss, organization need to be behave, because organization definition is artificial person contributing to the best society. So organization actually the servant of the society, and they have to work in best interest. And I mentioned triple bottom line concept. Organization need to be focused on the people those are working within our organization. Organization need to care about the planet, which in my environment, and organization need to be look around the profit as well. I quoted the example of using renewable energy, mean carrying the plant, we're providing reasonable and flexible working hours, is caring about the people, and cutting the costs and bringing the efficiencies in operation is to increasing the profit. So all then we discuss about ISO, International Accounting Standard 26, and social responsibility, health and safety legislation. I mentioned Health and Safety Act 1974. We discuss about human safety legislation, human rights, discrimination, equal pay, gender gaps, providing not supposed to be discriminate on the basis of race, religion, and these are all the corporate social responsibility at the organization to compliance with the employment legislations as well. So we discuss about recycling policy in organization. So recycle, and responsibly sustainable. So not focusing on the current generation without compromising the future generation we need to sustain in a business. So we discussed during our lunch as well. So then we discuss about the use of packaging, logistic of delivery, conjunction, use of scarce resources, or how when we have unlimited wants and limited resources, which I mentioned during our first lesson. Pollution, carbon footprint, all this we discussed during our first lesson. Economics and political issues we discussed during Kyoto, which is Kyoto principle, which is in Japan, and trade. It's an agreement on the environmental fair trade. We discuss about the product need to be more organic, not child labor involved. All these sort of discussion we discuss about social community issues. We mentioned a lot of different sort of issues during our first lesson as well. So during our last class, we discuss about benefit to employees. improving the working condition, like we discuss about flexible working hours, providing employees, that will help organization to be meet its corporate social responsibility, lack of discrimination, so clear compliance procedure, those are in place within our organization policy. If you have any discrimination based on race, religion, or sex, or gender, transgender, so all we need to be put ISAR as an organization is corporate social responsibility, compliance with the legislation. Whistleblow is mean if anybody who in an organization the practice is not appropriate, so they need to whistleblow to the relevant authority within our organization, to the compliance department as well as the outside organization. Like if the money laundering happening, NCA, National Crime Agency, or various other organizations, those are the watchdog, those the regulatory bodies for the organization. Those all we discussed during our second lesson. Impact on supply chain, which we mentioned ethical production, and what impact on the supply chains can be. So all we discuss, during all lesson. Responsible sourcing, reduce transportation costs. We need to look around how we can reduce it. Well planning, reduce the footprint, improve sales, improve profit, conflict of interest with the stakeholder. We discuss, conflict of interest, self-interest. I mentioned in our last lesson, professional code of ethics. We discuss about professional code of ethics, professional behavior. Your behavior always need to be professional competency always need to be up to date, knowledge, confidentiality, and always try to keep your information, information confidential. Only disclose if it's the wider interest of the public. Authorities will ask you to disclose, otherwise we're not supposed to disclose to information for the sake of our personal interest. So fourth, we discuss about integrity, mean honesty. Should be always honesty with the client, with the stakeholders. Whatever we're telling is a true story, not making up stories. So all this is these things we already discussed about. So these are the things we discussed during our last lesson. We discussed about return on investment, increase cost. So today focus will be LO3. So LO3, a learning outcome 3, assessment criteria 3.3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3 will be addressed during this lesson. Be able to make a recommendation for responsible business practices. Responsible business practices. When we're looking the business practice, it can be responsible. What are business practices are responsible? So like, polluting environment, reducing the pollution, providing the fair, putting or in placing the clear policies and procedure and system of control within an organization. Example of manufacturing. So in manufacturing, as a manufacturing organization, using the latest manufacturing technique, those will help to reduce the CO2, and that will be improving the manufacturing practices. Those will help you to improve the profit and reduce the footprint and provide the people fair opportunity to get the jobs. So all this is come under the corporate social responsibility. Financial services, so providing businesses and financial services, maybe up to some extent, without interest, some loans to the workers if they need to be. That can be a corporate social responsibility if we have a spare cash. Hospitality, yes, people need to be deal with the hospitality with the respect, with the dignity. All this, retail need to be retail policies where we supposed to be member of retail consortium, not we charge only the fair prices from the customer, not for profit businesses. Some maybe their key objective not earning profit, but still they have to look around the utilization of the funds. How volunteerism mean the response to the pressure group, effectiveness of volunteer practices. Like, data protection is a legislation doing something voluntarily. Like, we are telling people, oh, this product have a side harm of if you use more than the certain limit, that's a volunteer practice. There is no research involved which we can disclose. Change in the CSR policy. So we need CSR policy, corporate social responsibility policy. We need to be regular review. It is under the corporate social responsibility, under corporate governance, under IAS 1, International Accounting Standard 1, our corporate social responsibility policy need to be up to date, regular. Ethical leadership, ethical production and sale. Ethical leadership, what is meant by? Is it leaders should treat ethically other people when they buy, when they recruit, when they advertise the job, when they make the decision, they do ethics in verse, professional behavior, integrity, confidentiality. So all these are the professional code of practice leaders should also follow as well, like other members, and they treat, make the decision ethics in the production and sales, not massive sales, not cutting the production to manipulate the prices, doing shortage in supply, raise the prices, in future raise the demand of the product and selling more. So these are the bad practices we need to ethical, we need to improve, engaging in the corporate philanthropy, which is mean, as an organization engaging various stakeholders to be work ethically, best interest of everyone. So code of conduct we need to set in our organization. Environment reporting, which we need to produce the report, where we are contributing towards environment. So all these sort of the things will be focused to the lesson. So guys, if you have any questions, so feel free, just drop me email. So my name Anjum Satar, lesson 3, and my email addresses are here on the slides. So as mentioned earlier, today lesson 3, be able to make recommendation for responsible business practices. So you have to recommend based on the corporate social responsibility reports. How we can look around. Today we'll go through some theories and we'll see it. So corporate social responsibility and organization performance. So corporate social responsibility and organization performance. So what do we know about the corporate social responsibility and stakeholders? So corporate social responsibilities mean do business responsibly, which meet the needs of the various stakeholders. During our previous lesson, I also mentioned as well, stakeholder mean anybody who has any interest, or their interests will be influenced due to the of the company, or the policies, or the procedures of the company. So that's called stakeholders. So corporate social responsibility and organization performance. So please, anybody, any question up to now? If you have any question, drop me email, ask me now if you're online. So let's, there is a belief that the organization should have some corporate social responsibility. With social responsibility, there is a socially accountability. So accountability, they are responsible for their action. Accountability means responsible of their action. Organization must accountable for their action. Beliefs mean that they may be different between how the world is now and how it should be. Their beliefs may be different, but they have to. An introduction to the subject can be found here. This is page. Look some theories and concern defining corporate. So we're under this, the further slides we'll look, the different theories on CSR. Okay. CSR, corporate social responsibility, according to the quite popular and author Carroll, he gave the corporate social responsibility, mentioned various approaches or theories on the corporate social responsibility. So divide a 4-part model CSR: economic responsibility, we need to look around the legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, or philanthropic responsibility, which we need to go through. CSR requires satisfying all 4 parts consecutively. From this, Carroll offered the following definition: CSR comprises or consists of involve the makes legal, ethical, and ethical expectations placed on organization by society at given point in time. So economic responsibility, shareholder demand and reason done. It is a responsibility of the organization to to give the dividend to the shareholder reasonable return that can be meet the needs and the demand or the wishes or desire of the shareholder. Shareholder mean anybody who has any invest in the business is called shareholder, but the stakeholders mean anybody who has any interest in the business is so shareholder also stakeholder, but not all the stakeholders are shareholders. Guys want safe and fair paid jobs. So paid job, there won't be a discrimination between the gender pay gap. We heard a lot about these days. Last week, strike in stores in Glasgow, Scotland. That was about the gender pay gaps at the council in Glasgow and various other places in Scotland. So we need to look around as an organization. It's our responsibility provide the fair wages or the equal wages, not discriminate on the basis. So gender demand quality at the fair price. So we need to look around, not showing the sample is a good quality, but after a while, the quality will drop and we'll sell the expired goods. We can extend the date. So these are the practices can either by law as well and is ethically. We are responsible for our actions. So as an organization, we need to look around according to the current model. So we need to look around the okay. Next, we're looking the legal responsibility. The law is baseline for operating within a society. It is accepted rules book of companies operations. So we need to look around GDPR, New Data Protection Act. So when we are sharing electronic information with anyone, so we need to clearly ask, we need to tell the purpose of retaining their information and how long, not selling their clients information to third party is a clearly violation of the data protection and can be charged under the criminal. Ethical responsibility relate to doing what is right, just and fair. Just and fair is a right. Child labor is a right? No, it's not a right. Testing on animal is a right, can be right. You need a justification why, because you're saving human being. Are you saving more animal if you testing on few, but that help you to develop the to save rest of generations of animals or human being, so that's just and fair. So action taken in the area provide the reaffirmation of the society legitimacy, and this is naturally beyond the previous up to level. So anybody, any questions, guys, please ask me. So the ethical responsibility relating to discretionary behavior to improve the life of others. Charitable donation. Charitable donation is our come under the philanthropic responsibility, recreational facilities for setting up sports, doing or helping local, sponsoring the arts and the sports is our, this is a philanthropical responsibility because to healthy we are promoting the sports that will promote the health of individuals and ultimately leads to, so we is our as a firm is our responsibility towards society. How firms respond to CSR according to Milton Friedman. So next, a corporation is artificial person, like I mentioned you during first lesson as well. It has the same rights and the responsibility as a human being, is a notionally owned by the shareholders but exists independently of them. The shareholder has a right to vote and be paid the dividend, but the company owns its asset. So managers have a fiduciary rights. Fiduciary rights is mean the agency relationship they have. They are responsible. They are stewardship. Stewardship means they are working on the behalf of them. Actually, the shareholder is the owner of the company. Directors or the manager, they have a fiduciary relation the rights to protect the shareholder investment, not waste their money, not getting the bonus in billions themselves or declaring themselves, but not providing the dividend to the shareholder. Those are the actually owner of the company. So we need to be very careful under corporate social responsibility. Then Melton also argued that in relation to this definition, corporation has no responsibility outside of the making the profit for the shareholder, human moral responsibility for their action. It is the manager's duty act solely in interest of the shareholder, and this is the point of law. Any other action is shareholder betrayal. So social issues province of the states and not the corporation. So argument again, this viewpoint need to be provided the organization with the alternative view that leads to the same outcome of the profit. So we need to look around. We have to make profit to sustain in a business. Okay. Enlightenment self-interest. So we need to look around what is meant by self-interest, working for their own interest. So corporation perceived as ethical sound are rewarded with the extra customer. Corporation which has ethical unsound are the boycotted. So we can look around. Employees are the more attracted to work for, are more committed to socially responsible companies. So volunteer committing to the social action program may be forced legislation and promote independency from government. Positive contribution to society may be a long-term investment in a safer, better educated and more equitable community. So if you're offering setting up school, actually you're helping providing or raising healthy activities within a society. So that's all, is a corporate social responsibility, creating a more stable context in which to do business. So all this we need to look around in the interest of public. Curl for possible strategies which is recommended. So how the company can react, either they are doing marketing, production or any other operation. Refer to the capacity of the corporation to respond to social pressure and the manner in which it does so. Could also just the four possible strategy: reaction, defense, accommodation and proactions. So reaction, the corporation denies any responsibility for social issues. Defense, the corporation admit the responsibility but fight it, doing very least that this seems to be required. So accommodation, the corporation accept the responsibility, does what is demanded of it by the relevant group. And proaction, the corporation seek to beyond the industry norms. So they're not restricted like Uncle Ben, the advertise on the telly, you don't use these certain products. It's like Uncle Ben is they making a food in tin food, and then it's a rice and stew. Have a high sugar level in it or a high salted product. They said don't use it 3 times, 4 times a week. That can be side effect on your health, but it's very difficult. So that's going beyond the industry now, because in the industry people are the ever they say to customer, don't buy this product, this can be harmful for your health. So that's we need to look around. Then other various authors discuss about and look around various other stakeholders. And so Gray, Owen and Adams, so they have 7 position on the social responsibility as alternative views on the difference. So position on corporate, pristine capitalist experience, so permanence of social contract, social ecologist, socialist, radical feminist, and deep, ecologist. So these are the different stakeholders, different groups. So shareholder value to the all states stakeholders in partnership. So as a company, we need to make all the stakeholders. Those are the social ecologists. Those are ecologists mean, they're looking very deeply environment. So next we're looking these all the terms, pristine capitalist underpinning the value of the shareholder wealth maximization. They just focus, you need to maximize the shareholder wealth. Anything that reduce the shareholder wealth, such as acting in the society socially response, is the theft from the shareholder. And recognize that some social responsibility expenditures may be necessary to the strategical position and organization, so the maximize the profit. That's the back concept of the enlightenment of the self-interest. Prominence of social contract. A business enjoy a license to operate granted by society, so the long business act appropriate pay. Social, so recognize that the business has a social and environmental footprint, and therefore bear the responsibility to minimize it. Socialist action for the business, those are the capital class up. So we need to look around the classes of the people. Business should be conducted so regard red imbalance in society. So like lot of discussion is going around, like you promoting fair trade, but for apple of fair trade is £3 and normal for apple in £1. So it means you're dividing the society into two groups, rich and poor. Maybe that will create the gap between the society, which we as an organization does not are, which we supposed to be more organized society, providing the fair opportunity to anyone. So that's all, as a corporate we need to look around. Socialist, all we need to not imbalance. Radical feminist society and the business should be based on the characteristics such as equality, dialogue, and compassion and fairness. So all these are the qualities. The British rules, like values, all this been like as an organization, rule of law, democracy. So these sort of things we need to look around under corporate social responsibility, CSR. Deep ecologist, human has no moral intrinsic right exist than any species. So we need to look around all these according to next. So impact of CSR on the corporate governance. A key areas of impact in the relation to increase need for the existence of the social accounting. So next, as a lot of authors is agree, we need to look around the social accounting as a society, not lose it. So we need to look around. We need to look around. The social accounting produce in inclusion in the business review as the annual accounting reports. Ethical accounting tends to be focused on internal management system, codes of practices, and the individual level, how the company audit and the complies with this. Environmental accounting tends to be focused on the exclusive organization impact on the natural environment. Social accounting at the broader remit, which we look around the incorporate, implies condition, healthy, safe, equal opportunity, human rights, and charities work. Sustainable accounting is a grand title that incorporates triple bottom line are the first three possible emphasis on the environmentalism. So anybody, any questions? So as a accountability, we need to look around more social accounting. So lot of, as a corporate governance issue, fair representation of employees group, union group, shareholders are independent, non-executive. So everyone to make the final, so organization will be run effectively. Go versus organization, the demand organization to be more accountable, step up their new rule as a valid member of society, comes with the two main sources, like Carillion in the case of one construction company in UK is going to be liquidated. They have a 570 million worth of pension fund shortage. So what's happened is the people going to lose their money. It's a organization is putting pressure on the organization, the tight control on it. in the government, in the governance of the company need to be, and there should be a fair, and the people's money should be fairly invest in the companies or not withdraw it, so people will lose the money. And then government failure, one of the consequences of the modern society with the abundance of the product and services, the failure of the government to deal within the risk. The company is rapidly changing. Sometimes the risks are beyond the control single government. Sometimes the electoral effect on the depends. So we need to look around these all. Sometimes it's simply difficult to change the lifestyle of the people, but we need to look around the green piece politics will be. So corporation can shape the lives in many ways: liberalization, deregulation of market, increase the market power, restrict the ability of the government to intervene, privatization, many previous state monopolies, not create the monopolies and provide the fair, create the competition, healthy competition between organizations. Countries struggle with the unemployment, yet the decision to locate and support the society to reduce it, and the pressure on the lower wages economy to maintain the low wage and hence the low to attract the customer is vast. So complex cross-border legal agreement is very difficult. So the corporations are encouraged to be self-regulate. They can regulate themselves. So that's the huge discussion on volunteerism. So implies volunteerism as the practice of corporate social responsibility at the corporation by the certain implies satisfaction, retention internally, and by this we're looking the corporate reputation, connection with the stakeholder. So regular meeting with the stakeholder involving of particular interest are the specific practices produced used by the company to encourage and support volunteer activities of employees. And we reviewed publicly available document for June 100 companies work for ranking to gain insight into how best the company practices implies volunteerism. So all this we need to look around in very closely. So to make our organization so voluntarily involvement of various stakeholders, we need to set the strategy within our organization. Stakeholder and CSR. So stakeholders group from the basis of the success and the failure. So stakeholder are the individual or the group interest, right, and ownership in. So customer, supplier, employee, these are all the stakeholders in the company, and they need to be look around. So secondary stakeholders important because they take the action, damage or assist the company. So secondary stakeholder include all, so we need to work around with the all type of stakeholders. These are ethical and social manner. So more organization are adopting model corporate social responsibility. So corporate social responsibility goes by many other terms such as corporate citizenship, responsible business, or simple corporate social responsibility. So guys, anybody any questions? So today we discuss about all different sort of the model. So we finish our learning outcomes 3, where we discuss about ethical leadership. It need to be set up in a, we discuss about corporate philanthropic or the code of conduct, also we'll see any company corporate social responsibility reports, and we'll see what they change they have made. Let's well find to the company called in the UK is a Morrison. So Morrison CSR. So we'll discuss about Morrison CSR reports. So we'll see what the Morrison policy about the CSR, because your learning outcome 3 is reviewing the. So we need to look around what Morrison. Okay, corporate social responsibility ensure we operate in a way that right for our customer, colleagues, supplier, it means all stakeholders, make positive contribution to society and taking good care of environment. So if we'll want to read full reports, how they good caring about. So our 3 million product donated to the local community, true trolley of food per store each week. Across UK, unsold food is in our store that will save to eat can be donated to the local communities. So they're just doing animal welfare. They are spending seafood searching. They are looking. They are helping local farmer. So these are all sourcing responsibility. So looking seafood generates significant economic output and affect the livelihoods around the world, a major global food source. However, there are the significant challenge to ensure the seafood is brought to marketplace for responsible supply chain. Like during our last learning outcome LO2, where is the supply chain, so you can add these examples there as well. Helping customer to reduce the waste. Love food, hate waste campaign. So love food, hate waste. So how this, and online shopping, you only shop when you need it. Single carrier bag usage is down by 80%. So that's, cutting, comply with the local butcher and all, the result. So we need to look around. Morrison have working hard to reduce the comply low purchase of the fresh chicken. So always we need to look around how they can our corporate position and key issues. So Morrison policy responsibility program underpinning the responsible business practices, our stakeholders interest and all they are claiming it. Maybe we can look around against different independent analysts what they are saying about it, about them. So please, guys, so all this around. So modern slavery act as an organization, forced labor, human trafficking are all these, paying £2.30 an hour, and all these are bad practices. Is of course is illegal as well. So we need to look around all these. We can find any other companies view our corporate. So you can look around 2017, 18 Morrison or any other. So you can look at for our approach. Their organization strategy are 9 key areas which they focus. What those are 9 key areas, looking helping them to be a competitive, profitable and sustainable. First major supermarket committed to selling 100% fresh British owned brand meat. So they're helping local communities, local farmer raise for farmer through for farmer range 9 million. So new Chippendale food free range eggs, manufacturing side they set up. So launch of milk for farmer, higher welfare standards, reducing risk, meeting the customer needs. So these are all which we just discussed. So please, in your assignment, you can add last these sort of examples as well, which is quite good to embed. So these are all which what we learn under the corporate social responsibility, rule out the category of level of ethical performance reporting. 537 manufacturing colleagues completed modern slavery training. So if they find somebody is they making them work as a slave, so they can report to that's a government legislations as well. So these are all come under the corporate social responsibility and all we address under LO3. So anybody code of conduct they set up ethical with policies and all the changes and what sort of the changes as an organization make and how these are effective in terms of crime. So that's all today. So please guys, if you have any questions, drop me emails, and my email address is just there, and all sourceful is quite good reference they list up. So please try to be, if you want more, Kaplan online is quite good, and all these are recommended resources. Those we have used in our slides as well. So please go through, and this lesson will be available on Moodle. So if you want to listen, you can and prepare your assignment. So we finish our, there were 3 learning outcome and we address all these. So if anybody any question want to arrange extra session, extra help session, so we can arrange as well. Just drop me email. Have a nice time. Have a nice either it's a weekend or whatever the time on your end. So have a full time. Have a nice time. So hope so. I'll speak you all again and see you. Thank you. Bye bye.